England invented this game. They gave football to the entire world. And for the 60 years since they last won a World Cup, the world has been beating them over the head with it ever since. Right now, today, this England team is the best they have looked in a generation, ranked 4th on the planet. They qualified for this World Cup without conceding a single goal, 8 games, 8 wins, 22 scored, none let in. And they have just opened their tournament by taking Croatia apart, 4 goals to 2. Up and down the country, in pubs and living rooms, people are starting to whisper that same dangerous little sentence again. Maybe this time it's finally coming home. Stop. Put the flag down. Step away from the face, because I have seen this exact movie before. You have seen this movie before. We have all seen it. And it always every single time ends the same heartbreaking way. This is the story of why England are about to break your heart again. And here's the cruel twist. The better they look right now, the harder that fall is going to be. Let's be fair to them first, because this is precisely what makes the whole thing so cruel. This is a genuinely serious football team. Jude Bellingham, one of the best midfielders alive, and he's only 22. Harry Kane, the greatest goal scorer in the entire history of English football. Declan Rice anchoring the middle. Bukayo Saka tearing it up on the wing. And in the dugout, Thomas Tuchel, a manager who has actually lifted the Champions League trophy. They went through qualifying flawless. 8 games, 8 wins, 22 goals. Conceding, not one. And then in their opening match, they ran into Croatia, the very team that knocked them out of the 2018 World Cup, and put 4 past them. Kane grabbed 2, a penalty and a towering header. The bench came on and ran riot. On the surface, it was a statement, but watch it again, and the cracks are already there. Because this is not the Croatia of old. No Rakitic, no Brozovic. A Modric who at 40 was a shadow of himself and looked completely gassed by the hour mark. A team in the middle of a deep, painful rebuild. And England, the 4th best team in the world, the team with the so-called best defense, still let them score twice. 2 good goals, far too easy. The center backs look shaky. Pickford got a hand to one and still couldn't keep it out. So yes, they won. But against a fading, transitioning Croatia, the team that's supposed to be impossible to score against just shipped 2. File that away, because it's gonna matter. On paper, this is everything England fans have been begging for decades. A solid spine, a world-class strike, a real, genuine chance. And that, my friend, is the trap. Because England don't lose because they're bad. England lose in the single most heartbreaking way a football team can possibly lose. They walk you all the way to the edge of the cliff. They let you stand there and admire the view, and then they push you off. Let me take you on a tour of the graveyard. 1966. England win the World Cup on home soil. Jeff Hurst. A hat-trick, 4-2 over West Germany at Wembley, to this day, the only hat-trick ever scored in a World Cup final. Glory, immortality. And then, for 60 years, absolutely nothing. A World Cup semifinal against West Germany, Gascoigne in floods of tears. And it goes to a penalty shootout, and Stuart Pearce and Chris Waddle miss, and England are out, at home again. The whole nation singing "Football's Coming Home" on a loop. Another semifinal against Germany again, and it goes to penalties again. And the man who steps up and misses the decisive kick is a young defender named Gareth Southgate. Burn that name into your memory. 1998 World Cup. Round of 16 against Argentina. A teenage Michael Owen scores a wonder goal. David Beckham gets himself sent off, and 10-man England fight like absolute lions. And it goes to penalties. And they go out. The golden generation. Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Terry, Beckham on paper. One of the greatest collections of players England ever assembled. Surely this was the one. Quarterfinal against Portugal. Rooney sees red. And it goes to penalties. Lampard misses. Gerrard misses. Carragher misses. You're starting to feel it now, aren't you? This stopped being bad luck a very long time ago. This is a curse. And here's the part that's truly, genuinely cruel. Just when you thought it could not possibly hurt any more than that, England started getting closer. Close enough to actually taste it. Close enough to make the fall even further. Under that same Gareth Southgate, now the manager, England reach a World Cup semifinal. It's coming home is everywhere, blasting out of every car window in the country. And then Croatia, the real one, break their hearts in extra time. But 2021, that was the one that nearly broke the entire nation clean in half. The European Championship final at Wembley. England's home. They score inside 2 minutes. 1-0 up, 60,000 people losing their minds, 55 years of waiting about to end. And then Italy claw their way back, and it goes to what else? And 3 young Englishmen step up and 3 young Englishmen miss. The very last one, the decisive one, the kick to win or lose a final, taken by a 19-year-old kid named Bukayo Saka. Saved. England lose. And Saka, that same Saka, is on this 2026 squad right now, still carrying that night around on his shoulders. Then Qatar 2022. Quarterfinal against France. England are trailing, fighting, and they win a penalty late on their second of the game, the chance to drag it level at 2-2. And who steps up? The captain, Harry Kane. The most reliable penalty taker on the planet. The greatest goal scorer his country has ever produced. He'd already buried one from the spot earlier in the match, and this time, with everything on the line, he hammers it straight over the bar. England go home. And if all of that somehow still wasn't enough, Euro 2024, another final. And this time, a 16-year-old Spanish kid and his Spain side break English hearts one more time. 2 major tournament finals back-to-back. 2 defeats. The eternal nearly men of world football. And here's a part nobody outside England really understands: the pressure. The unique, suffocating 60 years of hurt pressure that lands on every single England team the second a tournament kicks off. The English press does not do calm. From the moment the squad is announced, it's a daily war of headlines: heroes one week, villains the next. Thomas Tuchel walked into this tournament under immense scrutiny before a ball was even kicked over the players he picked. The players he left out, even, ridiculously, the color of his passport, because he's German. Every England manager carries the weight of an entire nation that's been promised it's coming home for 30 years and gotten nothing but heartbreak in return. And that weight doesn't lift, it crushes you. It's the reason England players who are absolutely fearless for their clubs suddenly look terrified the moment they pull on the white shirt in a knockout game. The expectation isn't fuel, it's an anvil tied to their ankles. So now we arrive at 2026. And here is the specific problem with this specific team, the crack that could write the next sad chapter. Tuchel has turned England into a fortress. Compact, organized. They will not concede many goals over a tournament. But to actually win a World Cup, eventually you have to do the other thing. You have to take a locked, stubborn defense and break it down. And here, Tuchel made a decision that could come back to haunt every single one of us. He left Phil Foden and Palmer, 2 of the most creative lock-picking players in the entire Premier League, sitting at home on their sofas. So picture the scene. A knockout game. England run into a side that sits deep and parks the bus. 10 men camped behind the ball, defending for their lives, daring England to find a way through. Now England need a moment of magic, a key to pick that lock. And the 2 players most capable of producing that magic are 3,000 miles away, watching on television. And it gets worse, because this is the most physically brutal World Cup ever staged. 48 teams. More games than any edition in history. Played right across a continent, in the dead of an American summer, in heat that turns the final 20 minutes of every match into a war of attrition. And here's the thing about tired legs don't score wonder goals. Tired legs grind out nil-nils, and nil-nils in the knockout rounds lead to exactly the place England dread most. The deeper this tournament drags on, the more every single England game starts to look like the kind of slow, suffocating, low-scoring slog that gets settled from 12 yards. So what happens when you cannot break them down in 90 minutes? What happens when it's still level after extra time, both teams running on empty? I'll tell you exactly what happens. It goes to the one place on earth England never, ever want to go again. Penalties. The exact thing that has tormented this nation for 60 unbroken years. And standing over the most important kick of his life will be Harry Kane, 32 years old. The greatest goal scorer his country has ever had. And still, after everything, after all those goals, without a single trophy for his country, in what is almost certainly his very last shot at one. Remember Qatar. Remember the bar. That is the England problem. And it might just be the cruelest one in all of football. They are not bad enough to put you out of your misery early and let you get on with your summer. They are good enough to drag you all the way to the final week, to make you believe, to get an entire country painting flags on their cheeks, and then just flawed enough to shatter every bit of it at the worst conceivable moment. The better they look, the harder you fall. And here's what really stings. Every other great footballing nation took their heartbreaks and learned from them. Germany got knocked out and came back and won. Spain were the eternal underachievers, fixed it and conquered the world. France rebuilt and lifted the trophy. They studied their failures and they solved. England? England just keeps walking back to the same penalty spot over and over and over, like a man who never learns the lesson in getting their heart broken in the exact same place every single time. So let me give you my honest call. I think this England team goes deep. I think the defense is real and that spine is real. And I think they make the whole country believe all over again. I think the songs come back out. I think the dreaming starts up one more time. And then I think it ends the way it always ends. A tight knockout game. A stubborn team they simply cannot break down. 120 minutes with no winner. And a nation once again holding its breath as an Englishman makes that long, lonely walk to the spot. 60 years of history is screaming at you how this ends. I genuinely, truly hope I'm wrong, but I would not bet my house on it. So now I want to hear from you. How do you think England go out this time? Penalties again? Or do they finally break the curse? Drop your prediction down in the comments, and in a few weeks, we'll all find out together who was right. And if you want to see which other giants are already falling apart at this World Cup, Spain, Croatia, the whole lot of them, I broke that entire collapse down step by step. Click right here and I'll show you.